We take a look at the starting grid, and Sam Mayer and Justin Allgaier, two playoff drivers making up row 1, but then you keep going, row 2, row 3, row 4, all playoff drivers making their starting positions up front.
Yeah, Herbst and Alex LeBay finishing up the row 5 there. You see Jones, and how about Taylor coming over in row 6? Jordan Taylor going to join us, normally an IMSA competitor. He's going to come over and run an Xfinity Series race. It's going to be fun to watch him today.
Sammy Smith in row 11 in that 18, still looking for a championship in the Xfinity Series, but it was announced last week that he will move to Junior Motorsports next year to run full-time.
And you see a little bit further back, a bunch of drivers that had to go to the rear because of issues, and you just heard that report. John Hunter Nemechek, luckily with that win, is advancing, but he'll start shotgun on the field.
All right, Steve, it's been 5 years since they've been racing here at the Roval, but let's get a refresher. Let's take a look at the track map. Walk us through how you race this track.
Well, it's the same 1.5 mile oval that we see for the 600, but we were on the infield this time. So 1 through 8, all the infield complex, slow second gear corners. Then you climb the banking, 9, 10, a backstretch chicane, 11 and 12, back on the banking again, and then a front stretch chicane, 15, 16, and 17, back to the start-finish line.
All right, so now we see what the track looks like. How do you race it?
Well, that's the challenge of the Roval. What makes it so difficult is the infield versus the high banks. The other thing that makes it very challenging, what Dale Jr. said, stage breaks are back in. So stage 1, 20 laps. Stage 2, 20 laps. Final stage, 27 laps. Fuel window, just over 30 laps. So all year long, we've seen the stages end without a caution. Points were awarded. Here at the Roval, the caution will be thrown. That changes everything up. Strategy is going to be at kind of the forefront of every decision right around maybe lap 16 or 17 before the end of stage 1.
Out in front of the field right now is the Toyota GR Supra. That's the official pace car for today's Xfinity Series playoff race. For a few more updates before the green flag flies, let's go back to Kim.
Well, when playoff driver Chandler Smith hopped in the simulator on Tuesday, it was the very first time he had seen the Roval. This track completely unfamiliar to the young rookie, but crew chief Bruce Slicker said Chandler showed a lot of improvement in his sim time. And after practice today, Chandler told me the car is better than he is here. But at plus 32 points to the cut line, they are not in a must-win situation. And they feel like as long as they don't do anything dumb, they'll find themselves in the next round at the end of today, Dave.
Kim, Austin Hill won 4 times in the regular season, has not won in this first round, but he has collected 25 stage points in addition to a good finish at Texas and a not so good finish at Bristol. He has 44 points to the good above the cut line. They're in a great spot, not perfect, but a lot to work with today before they get into trouble. They should advance, Marty, but you know, you never know at the Roval.
You do never know, Dave. You know, Justin Allgaier could really kind of take today easy, right? He won the first race in the round of 12, advanced to the round of 8 with that win at Bristol. But I talked to his crew chief, Jim Pullman. He said, no way, we cannot take it easy, especially here at the Roval. He made the point to me, we've been so good at road courses this year. We haven't come through with that win. That's what's been missing for us on the 17, and I'm a huge believer in momentum. Pullman said if we can have a good run today and we can maybe even win this race, that's only going to help our effort next week at Las Vegas when the round of 8 begins.
Let's take a look at the points again. It comes down to this race. One race to determine who are the 8 that will fight for a championship when we start next week.
Yeah, so let's just talk about how points are awarded. If you aren't a consistent tuning into the Xfinity Series, at the end of each stage, the top 10 receive points. 10 for the driver that wins, 1 point for 10th. End of stage 2, the same thing, and then the end of the race, it's basically a point per position. So every car you pass, every car you finish in front of could score you a point. That's why Hill and really Chandler Smith at plus 32, they have to feel pretty good. But really from Sammy Smith on down, if you have an issue, it can cost you 18 points very quickly.
Well, let's listen into the 10 radio of Daniel Hemrick.
Best man, do the job. We believe in you. We got you all day long. No mistakes, man. Good luck and have fun, brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys. Humble in victory, gracious in defeat, no matter what the day gives us.
10-4. Thank you guys for all the hard work. Let's go get it today. Lots of opportunity. Keep doing what we've been doing for the better part of 2 months. We got this, boys.
That was radio from the 10 of Daniel Hemrick and his team, and then separate radio, obviously, from Parker Kligerman and his team in the 48. Those two right now are on either side of the cut line. Hemrick is currently in, Parker is out.
If the nerves weren't high enough, we're going to get to see that new restart zone and the official starting zone of the race that Dale Jr. talked about.
It's now in the chicane. There it is. That's the first line where you can take off from, and it's in the hands of Sam Mayer and Justin Allgaier. At the start of the race, the green flag will let them know when they can go. And the elimination race from the Roval is now underway. Too wide into turn 1 and 2. We'll see if Allgaier can stay there through 3. Two teammates fighting for the lead. Allgaier, Sam Mayer, 1 and 2 as they come out of turn 3.
I was surprised. I thought that the new restart location would really get the drivers more single file. It was anything but at the front of the field as the 7 was able to overtake his teammate. We'll see if Sam Mayer can put an attack back on through turn 8, and now they will climb up to the banking of the Charlotte Speedway you're used to as they head down to what is turns 1 and 2 of the oval.
Junior Motorsports has to feel pretty good about their driver lineup right now with Mayer, Allgaier, and Berry 1, 2, and 3 to start this race.
And Josh Berry comes into this race probably needing to win it if he wants to advance in these playoffs, and a good start in qualifying, good initial start of the race, so he's got good track position.
They work through the backstretch chicane. Too wide as they come back out onto the oval. And it's going to be Allgaier who will lead lap number 1.
The first lap, Justin's led on this racetrack. Hard to believe, as good of a road racer as he is.
The two previous winners as far as this round, John Hunter Nemechek and Allgaier, the least amount of pressure on those two. Cole Custer already advanced to the next round on points. Everybody else fighting for every position around the racetrack.
Yeah, Justin Allgaier out here just trying to gain any more playoff points that he could possibly get for this next round. So there's some motivation, Rick, for these teams, albeit, you know, Mayer and Berry both come in here feeling like they're pretty much in must-win situations.
And Steve, that's got to play into the strategy. You mentioned to us that stage 1 ends at lap 20. If Sam Mayer can stay up here, maybe potentially win stage 1, that's 10 points that he could gain, and he's in need of points right now.
Yeah, the real decision is what does his team decide. So if you pit before the end of the stage, you give up the chance to score points, but assuming the rest of the cars pit for that under that caution, you'll kind of leapfrog the field. So decisions remain about 16 laps away.
Right now, the distance between 1 and 2 are about 2 car lengths between the 7 and the 1, Marty.
And to Steve's point, Rick, that's really the winning strategy. Sort of pit before the stage is over with. So that's the dilemma, Steve, for Jim Pullman, the crew chief of the leader, Justin Allgaier. If the playoff point is there as a crew chief, Steve, you want that playoff point, don't you? But if you can't do that, you want the win. So what do you go for, the playoff point or the win, Steve?
Well, if I could win the stage, I would stay out. I would take the automatic playoff point for the round of 8. Every point seems to matter in these rounds. If I'm anything but the leader, the decision gets much easier. You just come to pit road before pit road closes, which happens 2 laps before the end of the stage.
And the driver has to make decisions as well. He's under a lot of pressure right now from Mayer. Does he allow this one car to go through? He knows that Mayer is willing to risk just about anything to do everything he can to win this race. So I guess if you lose this lead and even a few more spots, it makes that decision easier for your crew chief.
Jeff, how is it transitioning from the oval here, the high banks, the oval, into the road course? How difficult is that of a transition?
Well, the banking of the normal Charlotte Motor Speedway that they're approaching right now, this is really about the best your car is going to drive. The car is loaded, makes good grip, you know, because normally you're going through there much faster, but you have a setup in the car that's made for a road course, and that's made for braking and slow corners, and that is the balance they all have to make. Driving it's not difficult in the oval part of the racetrack, but setup variances between the slow parts and that part is very difficult for the crew chief.
I believe the 45 of Leland Honeyman has missed the back straightaway chicane, had to come to a stop. So here that is. This is what we might see. An average of 10 missed chicanes per race here at the Roval, and that's what a driver has to do. If you miss that chicane, if you are on the wrong side of those curbs, you come to a stop, serve that penalty, or NASCAR will force you down pit road.
Riding along with Parker Kligerman in the Big Machine Spike Light Coolers onboard camera, looking back from his 6th place position at Cole Custer, who's just behind him. The lead still about a car length separating Allgaier and Mayer. Down the backstretch they go to the backstretch chicane. Those braking zones, opportunities for guys to take an advantage, try to take a position. Sam Mayer still keeps that 1 to 2 car length gap between the two cars.
Yeah, the tires will hang on pretty good for 8 to 10 laps before you really start struggling with the balance of the car. And then also sliding tires. You might slide that left front or right front just a little, but that kind of adds up over time. You'll lose grip on that corner of the car the more you slide those front tires.
Sam Mayer is faster than Justin right now. He just cannot find a way to get around him. Justin's doing a really nice job on the corners leading up to the braking opportunities, which are passing zones. You see this part of the racetrack, Mayer is just faster in the slow part. So Justin knows that. So Justin's job at the moment is to just not make a mistake here, keep him in check, and then see Sam's going to try to cross him over, get underneath him. Great move.
Inside.
And Sam set that up a couple corners ago, running offline, sort of working that crossover move from a few corners back. Pretty sharp way to be able to put together several corners in that infield to put himself in a position to make this pass. See if he can make it off. See if he can pull it off here in the braking zone.
Yeah, who makes that decision? Who's going to get this? Is a very tough place to be side by side. Justin's not going to give it up. Sam trying to get back on the outside of him, but that's going to be another difficult decision that both of these guys are going to have to make, because this is a very tough spot they're in to be side by side.
How you doing over there, owner?
Well, we'll see here in a minute.
Coming up to the front stretch chicane, and Mayer takes the top spot away from Allgaier.
So Justin finally says, all right, you're working hard. He can see Sam working that hard around him.
Not jumping curbs here, man.
And he's like, I'm gonna let him go. He's faster. He's pressuring me. I'm gonna make a mistake if I don't. Sort of back down, regroup. Now Josh Berry is drawn to the back bumper of the 7 car. And Justin may say, okay, I think I'm better than Josh. I haven't seen, the 44's around right here.
Yep, so Raja Caruth in the 44 has
02 has to come to a stop. He must have missed the chicane trying to avoid.
Got to stop. You have to stop in the circle.
Great work by the spotter there to let Raja know that he needs to serve his penalty.
Brandon Lyons, he spots for William Byron on Sundays. Spotter giving him that information.
So already 5 laps complete at the Charlotte Roval, and it's been eventful for a few drivers, including Raja Caruth going around there.
From Daytona to Texas and
NASCAR Drive, that's your live race day companion. You can follow your favorite drivers with access to their in-car cameras or choose some alternate camera angles. Visit NASCAR.com/drive, or you can download the NASCAR mobile app to watch all the action. And the action up front for Sam Mayer is pretty good. He's been able to put about 7-8 car lengths between himself and Justin Allgaier. Marty?
Been able to pull away from his teammate Rick, as you mentioned, but earlier he was behind his teammate, and his spotter was saying, hey, maybe calm down a little bit. Listen on the radio.
Take care of your stuff. Make sure you got me here. Yeah, I do. This is nothing right now. Okay, that's good. Just making sure, brother. Keep doing your thing. All up Justin's rear end. I'm like, hope he hears me.
Yeah, I know it. He's like watching videos back here from the last couple of races. He's just really good at infield.
Not responding to his spotter because he's so focused and clearly has a very quick car as well, Dave. But you can tell they're trying to keep Sam Mayer, the young 20-year-old, reined in just a little bit.
Daniel Hemrick, the former Xfinity Series champion, runs in 5th. And all day long, team president Chris Rice on the radio has been using a golf analogy. Here he was again.
Remember, 7-iron is you use that curbing. You know what I mean? Use it. The advantage with this, use it with this 7-iron.
Copy that.
Use the curbing, but don't hit it really extremely hard. Just use the 7-iron. He said that on the pace laps. I believe that means if you want to win the long drive contest in NASCAR, you got to club down a little bit.
Or if you're like me, when you're around the green, maybe the 7-iron coming out. That's a little bump. You don't use it too much.
Hemrick wants to be nothing like you around the green. He's looking for a much smoother day.
Right now, this 48 car Parker Kligerman has lost a position to the 00 of Custer, and he's under pressure again. Austin Hill right there behind him, riding on board with Parker right now. See if we can understand what he might be struggling with. Here and they're dealing with a little bit of forward bite issue.
Ooh, you see that curbing, and that's what they were talking about. The red and white curbing, Junior and Jeff, that's kind of acceptable, but those blue turtles, you know, if you abuse those all day long, I don't know if your car can handle it.
Yeah, we're halfway through this stage. Parker badly needs to, not lose any more positions. Obviously, stage points at stake here. Important battle for this 48.
Here's a look back at Hill and just how much hitting that blue curbing makes a difference. See, the second curbing, no problem, right? The first one, Rick, big, launches his car up in the air, but if you stay on the red and white part, the car stays much calmer.
Kim.
And Parker told me before the race that he felt like in practice he still had more to give than he was able to show, but right now the car not to his liking. Like Junior mentioned, he needs more drive off. Also, the team just told him he's losing the most speed in turn 8.
That's some great information, Kim. Turn 8, that's approaching what is NASCAR turn 1. So you come through turn 7, you climb up the banking, and that is a very difficult corner, very tight. Got to get the car to turn. You talked about how important it is for stage points. Well, Parker Kligerman came into this race 1 point behind. He was behind Daniel Hemrick and Sheldon Creed. Well, both of those drivers are in front of him on track right now.
We saw Sam Mayer with a big mirror full of Justin Allgaier as they went through the backstretch chicane. Looks like Allgaier a little bit better on the big track.
Yeah,
the infield is where Sam Mayer really shines.
This is right around the time where we should see balance issues or real pace, long run pace start to develop. We know Sam Mayer can get around a road course. We know he's fast there, winning 2 of those this year, but how good is this car through this 20-lap run? It looks like Justin, Sam may be running his car very hard, heating up the brakes. A lot of things are starting to fade right now. He's pushed the tires to the limit. There's more tire tipping, less grip.
We're out front like this, and as good as the car is, I kind of want to talk him to sleep a little bit and just have something in his ear like I have, you know what I mean, just so that we don't kind of lose focus on what we're doing.
Talk him to sleep? I don't know if I want to talk a driver to sleep when he's out there working.
I don't know. I couldn't understand what that was all about, but the 7 car is starting to put a little bit more pressure on this one, and Sam, we heard him say how he was just taking it easy out front. He's not really pushing the car that hard, but obviously I think he'd rather have a little bit more comfortable lead than this. 11 car right there gets loose. It's Jordan Taylor. Great to see him back in the series, back in NASCAR. He's going to get a little loose on the braking zone there, wheel hop or some rear lockup.
He was running 13th when that happened. He'll be in the Petit Le Mans race next week.
Here's a good battle right here. Hemrick and Creed. And right behind him is Custer. Custer's showing some pretty good speed here. He's drove right up on these two cars.
4th, 5th, and 6th right here in front of us. Hemrick takes the spot back away from Creed.
Creed now goes on the defense, looks in the mirror and sees nothing but the Ford of Custer. So Custer, will he be able to set up a crossover move over the next series of corners, much like Mayer did, to take the lead?
Hemrick pulling away from Creed, or at least trying to. It's Mayer, Allgaier, Berry, and Hemrick. Top 4. Sheldon Creed right now fighting for that 5th spot. Big Ten Saturday night, the 5-0 and number 2 ranked Michigan Wolverines at Minnesota. Here comes Saturday night. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight on NBC and Peacock. Still up front here is Sam Mayer, but things continue to heat up there. A little bit of bumping as Cole Custer got into the back of Sheldon Creed. Now Sheldon Creed only 9 points above the cut line when this race started. So a very tight race right now for Creed. He doesn't want to have any mistakes, but he's getting a lot of pressure from Custer, and right behind Custer, Parker Kligerman, who was below that cut line when the race started.
And that's why Custer's starting to get impatient, because he's seeing the rest of the field run them down. He needs to get by this 2 car, not risking losing other spots to cars that he believes he's faster than. He drove away from this 48. Look at him giving the 2 car as much pressure as he possibly can without really just getting in the back of him and sending him up the track. Here we go into turn 1, the braking zone.
So try to outbrake him. This will be difficult to do. You see right there how the 2 car is able to carry his momentum because he didn't have to turn his car as much. But Kligerman's got to go. These 2 have had a little bit of history. Some hard racing between the 2 of them. Last lap wreck at New Hampshire.
Look how it's stacked everybody up behind him, and it's put Parker Kligerman at risk as well. Creed, Parker Kligerman, they do not want to lose any spots, any opportunity at stage points. It's a tough pressure situation for these drivers to be in. They're doing everything they can to keep these positions. They got their whole crews and everybody looking on, their crew chiefs letting them know how important these spots are.
21 of Austin Hill, also right there. He's coming in 4th in the point standings. Somewhat comfortable to advance.
You can see how making lap time versus being able to race are two different things. If Custer ever got by Creed, he's going to drive away from him. But Creed's good enough in the places that he needs to be good, like that right there. He's able to drive back away from Custer. Now Custer is not in position to outbrake him. He's too far behind to try to outbrake him. So that's what Creed's doing a great job of. Watch on the exit of this front stretch chicane. Watch what happens right here. Custer all over him, but Creed gets enough forward drive, he drives away from him. And now you can't outbrake him. And that's the difference between going fast and making lap time and raceability, and Creed's doing a great job of defending using it.
Less than 5 laps to go in stage 1, and Steve, you mentioned it earlier. Pit road will close with 2 laps to go when the leader hits the start-finish line.
So that's assuming the leader stays on the racetrack and goes through the front stretch chicane, so you can kind of peel off if you're close enough. This group right here is going to have to all make the decision the lap before because they're far enough behind the leader. It really comes down to Mayer and Allgaier, and I believe the 1 is absolutely going to pit. I don't think their chances on points, their chances to win the race. And when they do that, it'll be interesting to see if Allgaier stays out to win the stage and get that playoff point, or if he pits as well. If he pits as well, then if you're Sam Mayer, like, come on, man, like, I'm trying to win the race. I need to win the race. Maybe cut a teammate some slack.
Does that ever happen, Steve?
No.
I remember when you were crew chiefing and Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon are racing, and I'm like, oh my goodness, these two aren't going to ever cut each other any slack.
Look at this battle, though. It continues. You talked about it, Jeff, how the 00 of Custer was really charging into the corner and charging the first half of all the corners and losing on the drive off. And he's really worked that car over to where he's starting to slip and slide and miss corners. He's giving this 2 car of Creed a little bit of a gap, some comfort between him. And he sees that. He looks in the mirror and says, okay, what I'm doing is working. I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep taking care of this car into the braking zone, just accelerate out of all these corners. This 00 was really fast, but he's overworked that race car. Can he get things cooled down to make another run at him with 4 laps to go?
For Custer, already in on points. He's just adding pressure to the guys he's racing around.
He slipped big in that last corner a lap ago, slid through this section of the racetrack. Now that things have sort of calmed down a little bit, I think the speed will come back in this 00, but just a great job so far by Creed to keep this spot with a slower race car. Good mental toughness right there.
One thing that's going to be interesting, Steve, is how many people pit before the stage end. Look at Jeb Burton in 15th. Could enough people pit in front of him where if he stays out, he might actually could get a point? It's really going to be interesting to watch how the stage breaks, bringing them back, influences him. He does not have the pace he needs right now to get the points he really, really needs, but will he get them? Because so many people pit in front of him.
Third place,
Josh
Berry, yeah, coming to pit road, so that's 1 car out of the way. Here comes the 00 as well. You see him top of the screen. A lot of other cars starting to come to pit road.
Riley Herbst also coming. That Monster Energy, number 98. Marty.
Josh Berry came in from 3rd. Cole Custer, bottom of your screen. He was a little frustrated, as you can imagine, with Sheldon Creed, that battle that we followed. So all these cars coming in right here. You may be asking yourself, well, why did the 2 top cars not come to pit road? Sam Mayer and Justin Allgaier. Well, pit road closes as they get 2 to go in the stage, as you mentioned, Rick. Well, Mayer and Allgaier are going to pit on the next lap because they can beat that 2 to go when they come down to pit road with 2 to go as they come in next time, Dave.
Marty, John Hunter Nemechek, remember, who started in the rear, was running in the back of the field. Felt like the air pressure they had was not right. He asked the crew chief to, quote, go back on it. He'll get fuel here, 4 Goodyear tires, and resume.
So the big question will be, when the 1 comes around, Again, with 2 to go. Here's Sam Mayer, and you're saying the right choice for him is to come to pit road.
Absolutely. The 1 of Sam Mayer expect to pit right here. It wouldn't shock me if the 7 of Allgaier stays on the racetrack. If I'm the 1, I'm coming to pit road. If I'm the 7, I'm staying out, just like that. For the 7, it's about playoff points, win the stage. For the 1, it's about trying to advance. That's going to take a race win. So Allgaier now is the leader. There you go. Pit road closes. 2 to go. Nobody else can pit. The 1 of Sam Mayer will service his car and rejoin the racetrack.
Marty.
And there was a debate on the radio for Justin Allgaier as to whether or not they would pit. But yes, taking that playoff point, way more valuable. Marty Lindley bringing Sam Mayer down pit road, said he just needs a little bit more forward drive off. They preached him the entire time. Take care of the rear tires for Sam Mayer. But his teammate Allgaier, as you guys pointed out, will stay on the track and get that playoff point, which will be very valuable for Allgaier in the round of 8 and moving forward.
Well, also very valuable are the playoff point, that playoff point obviously for Allgaier, but the stage points that these playoff drivers are going to be able to get. And Jeb Burton, Jeff, you mentioned it earlier, Jeb Burton could get playoff points. Well, he's in the top 8 right now. So the top 10 at the end of stage 1 will all get points, starting with the winner getting 10, all the way down to the 10th place finisher getting 1 point.
So everybody coming to pit road moves Hemrick up, Creed up, Kligerman up. Those drivers that badly need to finish well in the stages are all going to finish well, but they're all there together. So they're going to have to count on 1 or 2 of them to have some bad luck at some point in this race.
Allgaier coming around, and he will see the white flag here coming up on stage 1. So one more time around for Allgaier to get a playoff point and to win stage 1.
And Hemrick has to be super excited to be in this position, to be second. That's going to be a ton of points. Parker feeling good about 4th. Now the issue you have on the bottom left of your screen, or top left of your screen, you see Sam Mayer up to 9th. He's right on the heels of Jeb Burton, and Sam Mayer did pit. So I believe he has a chance to run the 27 down. He might even be able to get to the 18 with those new tires. Dave.
You guys were talking about the 27 of Jeb Burton, and you called it just the way crew chief Shane Whitbeck told me they'd call it earlier today. They do not think that they have a car that can win the race, so they've got to get points where they can. Obviously, Mayer is going to cut into that right here, but Burton will try to get what he can here. The deficit was tough to start, 19 below as the day began.
What I'm curious about, Steve, is I see the 1 car get him by the 27, and that's going to earn him another point. But is that really what Sam Mayer needs to be doing right now? In my eyes, I'd rather he be going slow, taking care of these tires, not putting any pressure on them. He's in a kind of a must-win situation. I don't think he can point himself in. I'd rather those tires be fresher when he takes off on this next restart.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. Veteran driver, I would absolutely coach him that way. With Sam, I don't know if I'd want to clutter his approach, but I do agree with you that saving the tire would be a good move, as you see Allgaier here, Rick, winning the stage.
Stage 1 winner, Justin Allgaier, and so a playoff point going to Allgaier and the 7 team. Hemrick is able to grab 9 points for his finish there, and again, Hemrick coming in just above the cut line. Parker Kligerman, who is just below, also going to get a few stage points there as he finishes in 4th. Austin Hill in 5th. As we mentioned, Sam Mayer, even after coming to pit road, strong enough that he finishes inside the top 10 with an 8th place finish. Jeb Burton 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Josh Malicki. Stage 1 completes, and it's Allgaier's 4th straight stage win of 2023. His 12th overall. Allgaier, Sam Mayer looking strong here at the Roval after stage 1. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Progressive. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. Stage 1 is complete, and really not that many came to pit road before pit road was closed, so we're going to see a lot of action when they open up pit road here in just a moment. Here are the stage 1 points that were earned. Mentioned the top 10 all receiving points from winning, getting 10 points all the way down to finishing 10th and getting 1 point. Parker Kligerman, who was just below the cut line, he grabbed 7 points there, very valuable. Sheldon Creed was above the cut line, as was Hemrick. Those two getting 8 and 9 points respectively.
That's a struggle for Kligerman, as well as he did. The two in front of him he was chasing finished in front of him in the stage.
Yeah, and on top of that, you know, Kligerman has had major issues on pit road this year. They've not been very good, and that they're going to all come down pit road together, and that's where he's going to need his team to step up to keep him close to these guys.
We were riding along just a moment ago and saw the picture on the hood of Sherry Pollux, who's on the 24 car driven by Connor Mozak with the Toyota Sherry Strong on board. More on that. Here's Dave.
Well, the entire wrap on this car is a tribute to Sherry, thanks to Sam Hunt Racing. Taking care of a friend who we lost 3 weeks ago now. Sherry, so strong in this community. She's the son of a former Xfinity Series, the daughter of a former Xfinity Series owner, and of course a longtime partner of Martin Truex Jr., champion in the Cup Series. Sherry lost her battle with ovarian cancer, but SherryStrong.org was created to help those that were similarly experiencing it with her stay strong. She did so much for everyone. That picture on the hood was her returning from recovery a couple of years ago at Bristol and giving the command to start engines. And one last thing, on the rear quarter panel, her puppies, her big Labradors, Gracie and Charlie with 2 E's. They are now adopted by her sister Jill, and the car chief on this car, Fuzz Bergdorf. They'll have a life after that Sherry would have loved with their 2 Labradoodles in that family. We're just so glad that Sam Hunt Racing took the time to honor Sherry in this way this weekend.
Had the opportunity to hang out with Fuzz and the family and friends. We did a celebration of life for Sherry Pollux this last week. And there was singing and dancing and stories being told. The one thing that Sherry had said was she hopes that her legacy continues on, not just in the NASCAR world, but overall. And I will guarantee you that the presence of Sherry Pollux on this earth has made it a better place. Getting ready for pit stops now, as pit road will be open. And the first to come down will be Justin Allgaier, and coming right at you, Kim.
And these stops will include Sheldon Creed. Sheldon saying he is tight everywhere, especially through the center of the corners of 1 and 8. Air pressure adjustment on those 4 fresh Goodyear tires, as well as 1 round up on the track bar. You see that chassis wrench. Parker Kligerman also getting a chassis wrench. He documented he could not get the power down like he liked it, Dave.
Mission accomplished for the 10 of Daniel Hemrick. 9 stage points. He needed points coming in on that cut line, so that was good for them. He'll get a slight adjustment for his car. Marty?
Dave, normally when you don't flip the stage, it's a fairly big penalty, but I think everyone on the 7 team with Justin Allgaier was a little surprised that so few teams made that strategy call. Allgaier said, all I was doing that entire run was concentrating on not sliding the tires. They hold serve here on pit road, Rick, but they think they'll restart around 13th or so. That's not too bad for doing that move.
A couple positions gained for Creed, Austin Hill, as well as Jeb Burton. From the Charlotte Roval, it's the drive for the Cure 250, presented by BlueCross, BlueShield of North Carolina. Getting ready for the start of stage 2. And a little bit of confusion, I think, out of this field. The lights are back on. I believe they were supposed to be choosing starting on the inside lane or outside lane down the backstretch. And then the lights came back on, so they went back single file.
48 of Parker Clearman came in after scoring stage points. You'll notice the Jackman, pretty clean exchange on the right sides, but he has a little bit of trouble releasing the Jack. You see he kind of has to give it a couple, 2 or 3 turns to get it to release. And because of that, he lost a position. Then right here going out, the 38 was coming in going slow. Parker gets on board, and I just don't think he knew where the 38 was coming in. The 38 was definitely slow enough. Kind of got fortunate there wasn't any more damage. I'm sure the 38 had no idea there was someone to his left.
That almost ended up maybe fortunate for Parker, because you're not supposed to pass somebody on the left, and he looked like he was trying to pass
leaving
on the left.
You can. Yeah. You can leaving, just not coming in.
Yeah.
So leaving, he could pass on the left. He could go wherever he wants. His bigger concern is Joe Graff Jr. probably had no idea there was someone to his left, so he was going to pit regardless. Could have turned into damage.
So now the field will choose inside or outside, and let's listen into Parker's radio.
Yeah, just go 1 mile out of the outside lane.
Yeah, correct.
I mean, it's broken or something.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, so that's him and spotter Brandon Reynolds, and that was just Parker showing a little frustration. And what he was thinking was the 38 was going so slow that he tried to go by him on the left. Now, to give the 38 and Joe Graff Jr. credit, Jeff, I think he was probably thinking, I'm going to just let all these cars that have already pitted pull out. I don't want to get in the middle of the battle. Ended up costing the 48. Now we see the choose happening. Lights are off, so for sure coming back to the green. Marty.
I want to show you real quick, Steve, the right front off of Cole Custer's car. Check that out. That is not a flat spot like you would see at a road course normally. Also down here, that is delamination, which I think is concerning everybody up and down pit road here. So crew chief Steve, if you saw that come off another car, especially a competitive car like Cole Custer, how concerned would you be with that tire coming off the right front of the 00?
Well, it's definitely concerning. This is one of the challenges at the Roval, because you want to run air pressures and a tire that has grip in the infield, the slower section. Then you load up on the high banks at high speed. The delam there kind of being in the middle is a little odd. I would think it looks like it actually needs a little less air pressure.
I also think we got to remember, how hard that 00 was pushing, trying to get around Creed. I mean, that's about as hard as you're going to drive the car all day long. I think in clean air now, up toward the front of the field, that issue will probably go away for that team.
And now you're seeing where Allgaier, who won stage 1, is going to restart. So he's got his work cut out for him as he will try to work his way from that position, which we're showing him scored at 12th right now.
He also
get up to the front.
Also, we talked about Jeb Burton getting points. They did a nice job of getting points. Unfortunately, Jeb sped on pit road, so he's got to go all the way to the back.
And Sam Mayer, who pitted earlier before pit road closed, will restart up front. So Mayer and Josh Berry making up row 1 as they come through the restart zone, and
green flag.
back to racing.
Oh, big contact right there.
Berry going wide now as they go through 1. A lot of pressure on Sam Mayer.
More contact between these two cars up
To your
front.
right, be easy, to your right.
Custer putting the pressure on now as he gets to the outside of the 8s of Josh Berry as they go through 3.
Yeah, Barry had the preferred spot. If you can stay on the outside of a car through turn 1 and turn 2, you then have the advantage of being on the inside of 3 and 4.
I think we saw our first taste of what that new restart zone location is going to provide us this week. Drivers really trying to get aggressive with each other. It's kind of, pretty interesting to see the 8 car be able to use that restart zone and challenge the control car of Mayer. Mayer getting into the door of the 8 and continue to beat and bang for the rest of the restart down into turn 1. Fascinating stuff.
And look what happens with the points with Sam Mayer out front. We told you that he would have to win to advance, and right now as he is being scored as a leader, that puts Hemrick below the line and Sammy Smith right on the line as far as making it into the round of 8. Take another look at the restart.
So the 8's right there. He's in a good position. Mayer slips the rear tires in throttle, slides the back into the door of the 8. Josh gets wide here, trying to get a good exit off of 1. More contact a moment later. Those 2 drivers pretty much know one of them has to win this race. They both can't win it. One has to win to be able to move forward in the playoffs. Teammates not in a position to really work together. They have to race each other as hard as they can.
As they're running, Parker Kligerman 19 points below the cut line of Sammy Smith right now. And there's Sammy Smith in the 18.
Yeah, that restart, that whole exchange did not work out well for Parker Kligerman. He is down to 17th. The guys he's racing for points, Hemrick's in 11th, Creed in 8th.
See the 18 of Sammy Smith clearing the 24 of Connor Mozak. Kim.
And when I talked to crew chief Jeff Mendering for Sammy Smith, he told me you can get yourself into a lot of trouble here racing defensively. And so right now, after that incident, they got on the radio. They told Sammy, just keep your cool. We are not even to halfway yet. You need to refocus.
Keep your cool on one of the most difficult races
right here
that they race.
Big damage.
Yeah, damage to the right rear of the 43. And so Ryan Ellis has issues.
That seemed to happen. I don't know where that happened, but somebody's gotten in the back of him, so we got another car out there with a little front damage.
Could he have backed that into the wall?
It's possible, Rick.
Also
looked like a little contact, maybe off of NASCAR 2.
Asgrala with an aggressive move. The 10 car making it 3 wide. Wow. Daniel Hemrick
going for it.
Yeah, that is an aggressive.
2-car Creed slides the right front there. Big smoke on that right front tire.
Yeah,
he's got a lot of damage too to his right front fender, Rick.
Yeah, a lot of tire smoke coming from Sheldon Creed. That's got to be worrisome.
Yeah, Sheldon Creed's been out there doing a good job of getting points, and now he's just in the middle of this battle. Kaz Grala does not care about Sheldon Creed's points. He's trying to take this spot.
Where did the damage come from, though, on the right front of that 2-car? That's pretty significant. Just below the headlight there.
Maybe that was the issue. Well, it wouldn't have had. Creed was too far forward compared to the 43 of Ellis. But yeah, you're seeing a lot of smoke come out from the right side of Sheldon Creed, and that damage to the right front. Just behind Creed in the 26, Kaz Grala.
Talk about changing. Let's take a look. I think we have a idea what happened to the 2. The 7's passing him over. Oh, and he kind of just tries to turn in and get in line and makes contact with the left rear bumper cover of the 7. 7 not really doing anything wrong. Goes a little straight over the curbing, but looks pretty normal.
Bent the right front of that 2, Sheldon Creed, in quite a bit.
Well, why that matters is with Mayer leading, and it would be the same with Barry leading because both are below the cut line. We talk so much about Kligerman coming in below the cut line, but now with this new winner, that puts Hemrick below. So even the race that Hemrick is having, he's 5 points below Creed. So that move Hemrick made, the kind of 2-for-1 pass the 10 car made a couple laps ago, even more valuable as now we see the 2 and the 26 kind of stagnant, but up in front of the 2, the 10 slowly pulling away.
Daniel Hemrick, as they're running, 5 points below Creed. But Creed may be in trouble with that damage to the right front. Sam Mayer continues to pace the field, has about a 1.3 second lead over second place Josh Berry. Cole Custer, Riley Herbst, Alex LeVay, the top 5. Allgaier led 9 laps, and Sam Mayer has been out front 18 here at the Roval. NASCAR Fan Rewards is free to join. You can earn points by watching races or answering trivia, playing some fantasy, and more. Save your points, trade them in for free tickets. There's autographed merchandise, exclusive NASCAR gear, and one-of-a-kind race day experiences. Visit NASCAR.com/fan-rewards. Fans getting rewarded right now for battles all around the racetrack as we see the drivers that are currently 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th in points. And again, the top 8 in points advance into the round of 8, with the bottom 4 getting eliminated after today's race.
Everything has completely changed with Sam Mayer leading. You know, that automatic advancement with the win has really changed the whole complexity and the whole picture down around the cut line.
And that's assuming that he continues on this pace. So strategy-wise, what are you going to do at the end of stage 2, Steve?
I think with 2 laps to go at the end of stage 2, you're going to pit again. So you see we're 11 of 20 coming around to have 9 to go in this stage. So you'll come 2 laps to go in the stage. I expect the 1 to pit, the 8 will pit as well. And that's the challenge for those guys. You're right. That's assuming the 1 continues to lead. But if he doesn't, the next guy in line is Josh Berry, and he's in the same situation. Well below the cut line, a win, and he would advance. I give it to Junior Motorsports. You know, the 7 has won. I know that the other 2 cars want to be better in points, but they have brought race-winning speed. As we see the 91 of Alex LeBay, looks like he got a little bit driver's right. Is that what happened off the front stretch chicane?
Yeah, he did. Just had a problem with that front stretch chicane. Actually, look at the Ryan Herbst in front of him had some problems, and then right behind him, this happened.
Big damage to the 91 of Alex LeBay, who was running so well up inside the top 10. Right now he's running in the 7th spot, but he's starting to lose positions.
Yeah, this track, while the infield might be not huge on aerodynamics, the braking zones, both chicanes, are going to be really, really important for downforce. That car is going to need to be tended to.
Again, Alex LeBay out of St. Albert, Quebec, the 30-year-old.
He was really fast in practice, did a good job qualifying this car. Had some good expectations coming into this race. Probably the best car, he'll tell you, the best car he's probably been in this series. And the day's not over. I mean, that damage is pretty significant, but might be able to get the repairs done. He's a good enough road course racer, and there's a lot of things can happen in this final stage. Let's see what happened here. He gets over that final curve just too much.
See how fast he was catching the 98, though? Yep. Something happened to the 98 as well, and I wonder if that wasn't some sort of a distraction for Alex.
Casgarala is going to work to the inside and pass him.
Well, and if you ask yourself, why is LeBay not pitting? Well, he knows in 8 laps the caution's going to come out. So all his goal is right here is to just kind of, you know, you got to go to the tail of the field with repairs. So just don't make it worse. Let the guys go in an orderly fashion, try to stay on the lead lap, which he should be able to do no problem.
Cure and fixable.
Oh, no, the second place car.
Josh Berry is around and up against the barrier.
Oh, no. He came in here in pretty much a must-win situation, had good track position. Didn't quite have the pace, but still good track position to make something happen. That is going to be costly.
Yeah, he's dropped all the way back to 13th right there in front of Austin Hill.
Josh Berry knows his future is in the Cup Series next year. He'll take over the 4 ride from Kevin Harvick after he retires, but still wanted to advance in these playoffs. Make sure to represent your favorite driver during the playoffs and take advantage of amazing deals at the NASCAR shop. Check out the greatest selection of t-shirts and hats, die-casts, and much, much more. Visit NASCAR.com/shop as Stage 2 winding down, under 6 laps to go. Again, a reminder, with 2 to go, when the leader crosses the start-finish line with 2 to go, pit road is closed, and so that strategy getting ready to come back into play as Sam Mayer has really set a blistering pace. He's got Cole Custer 5 seconds behind him.
Doing a really nice job. Had to battle early and battle on the restart with Barry. I think he's learning about that restart. Dale called it earlier today. He said that they're going to get more and more intense with that new restart zone, and we saw him slide and kind of bang with the 8 car early, but ever since he got clear, he's kind of just calmly driven away. We see the 0-0 of Cole Custer, and in 4th, John Hunter Nemechek, who started all the way at the back. I wasn't sure how good of a car he had, but they just called some really efficient strategy, and he's worked his way up inside the top 5.
Here's Parker Kligerman, and he's caught the back of Sheldon Creed.
Yeah, Sheldon's backing up here pretty hard. The guys in front of him have driven away from him. Parker trying to take this position and get a point. We saw how good of a job Creed did earlier of being able to block and keep people behind him. He's going to have his hands full if he can keep Parker for 4 more laps, 5 more laps behind him. It's going to be a tough job.
And this is another opportunity when Sam Mayer more than likely will come to pit road before the end of the stage. That's a playoff point that Cole Custer can earn.
Unless he comes as well. I think the 0-0 might think he has a race-winning car. I think it's the 0-0 or the 20 or the 7. Those 3 are already locked into the next round. So I think one of them may stay out to get the playoff point. We'll see which one.
Look at this 48. He's trying to set his car off to the right to be able to maybe outbrake into this braking zone. Not able to do it. Getting instructions not to let him block him. He's close enough here to maybe charge the entry to braking zone.
He's going to try to outbrake him into turn 1.
2's going to fight back on the outside, Rick. Almost clear. Parker now to the inside. Creed will be on the inside of the next series of corners.
This will be tough for Parker as he works on the high side through 3, and he's going to clear him.
What a great series of corners. Good job by Parker. Good clean racing by Creed.
Very nice by 1. Focus ahead.
Focus ahead. So now Parker Kligerman up to 8th. When it comes to points, the closest to him, Daniel Hemrick, is who he's fighting with for points if he wants to get in based on points. And Hemrick has about a 5-second advantage right now over Kligerman.
So as we come to 3 to go, the leaders probably won't pit because they could do it at 2 to go. But Sam Mayer has such a big lead. Custer, Herbst, Nemechek, Jones, the cars behind him kind of have to make a decision. So the 0-0 may stay out and see what the 1 does, but what do the rest of these cars do? If you're going to pit, you're so far behind, you kind of have to make that decision a lap before.
And right here, we have 3 to go. So the possibility exists that if you're going to come to pit road now, you're a little bit further away from the 1, and we are getting pit stops happening, Dave.
Riley Herbst is on pit road. He'll get 4 Goodyear tires for his Mustang and fill it full of fuel. And the 21 is on pit road as well. Playoff driver Austin Hill brings his car to pit lane. He wanted about 3/4 more of the last adjustment they did. The car had been too tight. Still that way, Marty.
So why did Josh Berry spin a moment ago? He's on pit road right now, Dave. He said he's having some power steering issues with the 8 car. He was in 2nd, but did not fall out of the top 15. He was 13th when he came to pit road. You will see Sam Mayer come down this time and Cole Custer as well. They're going to forego that playoff point, Steve, because you pit here, you can make it all the way to the end of the race. So in theory, they're thinking this is our final stop of the day.
So I agree that this is the final stop of the day. The question is, if not stopping now, you're going to be way back in traffic. We've seen Allgaier still not recover. He's only back to 5th. So the 1 for sure, as Marty reports, the 0-0 I had question about because he had advanced. So let's just see who decides to do what. The 1, no surprise. Marty reported the 0-0. We'll see if he decides to join. He will. Somebody's going to stay out, though, and get this playoff point. There you go. The Mobile 1 car, that red, white, and blue of John Hunter Nemechek is going to stay on the racetrack, and with that, earn a playoff point by winning the stage if he can keep the lead for 2 more laps.
Marty.
The other interesting thing is that you saw that orange car flash through. Parker Kligerman stayed out to be able to get the stage points as well. Sam Mayer said, I was never full throttle through NASCAR 3 and 4 the entire time. I was really trying to conserve our tires there. Cole Custer said he just couldn't get back to the gas, especially through the infield section. Mayer done with his stop, and he's gone. And Justin Allgaier, you made the point, Steve. They struggled to get track position back, so Jim Pullman did not want to put him in that spot again. A little bit longer stop, and now a spin on the racetrack, Rick.
Yeah, the 53 into the wall, too. It looks like Connor Daly.
Left rear tire's flat, and he missed the entrance to pit road.
So now, can he limp all the way around this track, or is the caution going to come out?
That was fun. I think the process of both may happen, because I don't see him getting all the way back around. Going to come to a stop right here.
Now he's trying to roll, but the caution does come out.
So with that, that'll be
that'll end the stage.
Oh yeah, you see the left rear going flat. Nothing Connor Daly could do.
Slides up into the wall, and Steve, they won't restart before the end of the stage, so this is going to put Nemechek winning the stage. Hemrick, Kligerman, Creed, Alex LeBay.
And to Jeff's point earlier about how hard to run on your new Goodyear tires, Jeff, now all the cars that pitted can just ride around under yellow, which is really good because that final stage is a little bit longer, so it's going to be the longest run on tires.
I'm going to give Hemrick, Creed, Kligerman, I'm going to give them all a lot of credit because they all came into this race knowing they were going to try to get stage points. It's one thing to say, hey, I know I need to. It's a whole other thing to do it. And they've done it by running in the front. Like, they didn't just all, you know, not pit from 12th. They've all had great speed today. Every one of these teams and drivers stepped their game up coming into this race knowing they had to.
Those three drivers you mentioned at the beginning of the race separated by 9 points between those three drivers. And Parker Kligerman, the odd man out, he is the one who was below the cut line prior to the start of the race.
Well, Steve mentioned it earlier. As good as Sam Mayer is running, if he's able to win this race, I mean, it's made that point battle even more difficult. That's what it's so hard to know what to do in these races. You just don't know who's going to, somebody's going to come out and win. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Sam Mayer, Jeb Burton, the 8, Josh Berry, any one of those, and that pushes the 10 of Daniel Hemrick out of the top 8.
When they come down to pit road, this is going to cycle them back into the middle of the field. So for me, you know, for Creed, Hemrick, and Kligerman, restarts. Making as much ground as you can on restarts, trying to outdo, you know, the person you're battling at the bubble line on restarts. There may be one to start that stage 3, and that's it. You may get a few more sprinkled in that stage 3, but you have to be gaining ground and doing a better job in intense conditions.
And the guy that came in here, we haven't really said his name all day, Sammy Smith. We thought he came in here pretty safe, but those guys behind him in points have gotten more points than he has, and it's going to put some pressure on him for being able to finish this race off, Marty.
We saw a little hiccup on the Justin Allgaier stop a moment ago. Justin just asked on the radio, are all the lug nuts tight? Listen in.
10-4, are you sure everything's tight? They say yes. Checking cameras now. Copy.
That's something we're going to have to watch for Justin Allgaier. Did they get all the lug nuts tight? They did flip the stage. They'll have the track position, but are all the tires tight? That's the big question.
You see right there the gentleman in the gray Hendrick shirt. That's one of the coaches. He's getting, guessing he's getting the, what is it, the SD card out of the little camera on the side of the helmet, getting all the information. They'll load it in. They'll take a look at it. They can also look at the air pressure to the pit gun. Every time a lug nut tightens, you kind of see a spike in air pressure. So a lot of different data that the pit crew coaches will go through to try to find some comfort.
And again, the Xfinity Series still 5 lug nuts for the wheels. And Nemechek gets his 10th stage win this year. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR is brought to you by Credit One Bank, a credit card company, and by Marathon, proud to fuel drivers and their co-pilots. 2 stages complete and 1 to go here in the elimination race for the Xfinity Series as we get ready for pit stops here after stage 2. Kim?
And the report by Sheldon Creed, he said it's still so tight the front end does not want to turn. It's worse in the left-handers, but a little free off. The call, 1 round down, the right rear spring. You see that adjustment right there. 4 tires, Sunoco fuel. Parker asking for another air pressure adjustment, Dave, because he needs more drive off still.
John Hunter Nemechek won the stage. He can't get pointed exiting the chicanes. There's speed there. They want an adjustment for that. And Daniel Hemrick, 9 more stage points. Will that be enough to get him through to the next round? We shall see. The front end snugged up on the car there. He had an adjustment for that.
And again, race off pit road for those that didn't come early before the caution came out. See a couple guys gaining some spots. We'll reset when we come back. Well, get your popcorn ready. Sunday Night Football. Dak Prescott and the 3-1 Cowboys visit Nick Bosa and the 4-0 San Francisco 49ers. That coverage starts with Football Night in America at 7 p.m. Eastern on NBC, Peacock, and Telemundo. Right now, you're watching the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs. Drive for the Cure 250. And right now, Parker Kligerman running in the 15th position, hoping that he can advance. And Kim, his owner, is hoping the same thing.
That's right, Rick, here to cheer on Parker, team owner Scott Borchetta, and the fact that he is here might be even more amazing than the season that this team has had. And I say that because Scott, well, he's a racer himself, and 5 months ago he was competing in a Trans Am race at Road Atlanta. You're seeing that accident there. His brakes failed, leading to the accident that resulted in over 10 broken bones, internal injuries. Scott, well, he's lucky to be alive, and just talking to him today in the hauler, you would never guess he was in a life-threatening crash. He has accomplished so much in his life and his career, but Parker told me seeing Scott's excitement throughout the course of this playoffs has showed him how much this matters to him, how much the team means to him, and what an accomplishment in only their 3rd season, Big Machine Racing, going after a title.
And Steve, I remember at Richmond, we got on the elevator with Scott, and he was in a wheelchair, and we're like, my goodness, how are you doing? 150 miles an hour is how fast he was going when the brakes failed on that car.
Yeah, I mean, we know what that turn 1 is. That's Brad Keselowski had an accident in that same corner testing years ago, and it was great to see Scott at the racetrack, and he's what this, we talk a lot about this series for drivers and things like this, but let's not forget what this is for owners as well. This is a great place for an owner like Scott to figure out his way into NASCAR. He's been a huge proponent of racing and NASCAR, and it's been so much fun to see his excitement as his car is now in the playoffs. He's living every pass, every lap.
Yep, enjoying every single moment and hoping that his car and driver can make it into the next round. As we see the choose, and the 1 will be on the outside. The 00 of Cole Custer will be on the inside when they come to turn number 1.
Well, Rick, look at these points. So this right here has Mayer winning this race, and that would automatically advance him into the next round of playoffs. Look at 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. They are separated by very few points. So what does that mean? That means on these restarts, you got to go get some. You got to find a way, if you're Parker Kligerman, to go get a lot of spots. Hemrick, Creed, they all have to be exceptionally aggressive. Sammy Smith came in here in pretty good shape, but he only has a 4-point advantage right now. All 4 of these drivers have a ton of pressure on them.
Remember, every position is a point.
With this new restart zone here in this final chicane, you have to watch this as well with the control car now on the outside line that you mentioned, Rick. One car is going to be on driver's right. We'll see if that's an advantage or a disadvantage, not only for later in this race, but for the Cup race tomorrow. Everybody learning how to get through this restart zone and how that might benefit one line or the other. So this is a new change up here with the control car on the outside of the right lane.
See the stage points earned in the lower left after 2 stages are complete now. Just 24 laps to go in the race. Sam Mayer trying to win and advance as he restarts, and the final stage is underway. Fighting on the outside through turn 1. He's cleared the 00. How aggressive will these drivers be right after the restart? Sam Mayer trying to run away from Cole Custer.
Cole's had a really fast car, but they've had a little bit of a tire issue on that car on the long run. The 7 car of Allgaier equally as quick as anybody in the top 3, but he's worried about whether they got the lugs tight or not on that car.
Parker Kligerman clearing the 27 of Jeff Burton.
Clear.
And look at the points as they run. Hemrick and Creed tied.
There's going to be a bunch of contact as these drivers try to work their way through this traffic.
If it ends up in a tie, the transfer position, the way you settle the tie, is the best finish in the round.
Yeah, you look at that bright orange hood, that's the 48 of Kligerman. The bright red hood right there, that's the 2 of Creed. Kind of in the middle, the 10 car, he's up there a little bit further.
Haven't talked a lot about Sammy Smith, but right now +7 over the cut line, Kim.
And came into this race +18, but there was no breathing room for this team, because when I talked to crew chief Jeff Mendering, he said, we absolutely do not feel safe unless you are locked in, you are not comfortable. Here's what they told Sammy before the restart.
What's this do for us points-wise now? Still -4?
Yep, that's right. 4 to the good right now. 2 points ahead of the 2 and 4 points ahead of the 10.
Copy.
So they're going to give Sammy updates throughout the course of these next 23 laps, hoping to hang on to at least that position, if not more, to move on to the next round.
We talked about, Kim, we talked about the importance of restarts. And for all those guys, Hemrick picked up 4 spots, Kligerman picked up 3, Sammy Smith picked up 3, Creed picked up 3. So every one of them pushing the buttons, making good stuff happen.
Again, this will send 8 drivers into the next round of the playoffs, where they will face Las Vegas, Miami Homestead, and Martinsville to try and have an opportunity to make it to the championship 4.
Rick, you see that lead. Sam Mayer is out to over a second over Cole Custer. Is it too big? His crew chief, Marty Lindley, thinks maybe. Listen to this Channel 2 conversation.
We don't have to run out to a big lead right here. We just need to keep about a 10-car length gap here to save this thing for the end restart.
So that was on Channel 2 to the spotter, Kevin Hamlin. Steve, have you ever asked the spotter to say, hey, tell the driver, back it down a little bit. Let's save the car for the end of the race.
Absolutely. So this run right here, there's 22 laps to go. So this will be the longest run on tires if it runs green. But what I heard is for the late restarts. Marty Lindley expects to see some yellows. And what I hear is we're not coming down to get fresh tires. So there's no reason to.
Back it down a little bit more if we need to.
There you go, back it down a little bit more. He basically wants his young driver to drive out the mirror. Have a big enough gap that he's comfortable, but don't drive off to an unneeded 5-second lead. That's what he had earlier at the end of stage 2.
And that is Marty Lindley. That's his strategy. When my son Harrison raced for Marty, I heard Marty say that a lot. We only got to win by a car length. It doesn't have to be 8, right? That's what he would say. Save the tires. Don't push it any harder than you have to. I think that's great advice for a young driver.
Well, the 20-year-old out of Franklin, Wisconsin, in Sam Mayer, has been learning all season long. We knew he had speed. Then he got a win on a road course, and all of a sudden he had confidence. And then got another win, and then there was more confidence. But there's always lessons to be learned, and it happens here in the Xfinity Series. Sam Mayer continues to learn, and right now this is a lesson that he's hoping that will get him to victory lane and advance to the round of 8.
On board with Parker Kligerman, you see -4 points, and right in front of him, you know, points are available. You see Myatt Snyder in that 19 car. Oh, this 48 car drives pretty good, it looks like.
Green trip.
Right now, Kligerman running in the 11th position and fighting for every point on the racetrack. Sam Mayer continuing to lead at the Roval. Only 19 laps to go here in the Xfinity Series racing at the Charlotte Roval. Want to take a look at the Toyota driver update. Kaz Grala, the highest running Toyota right now, in 5th. Connor Mozak is 8th. Mayan Snyder behind the wheel of the 19, running in the 10th position. Sammy Smith is 14th, and John Hunter Nemechek has not been a race-winning day for John Hunter Nemechek as he's back in 17th. But again, John Hunter Nemechek, the winningest driver in the Xfinity Series this year, 7 wins already and 1 in this round, so he is advancing into the round of 8.
Mike Snyder in this 19 car is doing a really nice job. Parker Kligerman just got by him, had to make an aggressive move under a braking zone to make it happen, and now Hemrick's got to answer the call. There it is, another aggressive move.
Oh, and around the 45.
Yeah, going through the chicane, 44 and 45 got together. One missing the curbs as we watch this battle here continue. Mike Snyder fighting as hard as he can to keep these positions.
And Hemrick knows he needs to get by because currently, he's 2 points out. And that's a spot right there, and that's a point. So Hemrick's got to push some buttons here. It's not Myatt's job to worry about Hemrick's points, I can tell you that. But this is a good run right here by Hemrick. It'll be a heavy battle under braking, getting into this rear chicane. Right. Just cannot let Myatt outbrake you. Myatt gives a spot up down the back. Jeb Burton now to the 19.
Jeb Burton in the 27, chasing after Myatt Snyder in that 19.
Jeb's done a great job today, making some good time with that number 27 car.
See Sammy Smith behind Jeb. Sammy's only 5 points to the good at the moment. Any mistake and you could be out.
I do want to mention the 9 of Brandon Jones had a speeding penalty on pit road earlier. So I want to make sure that that penalty was acknowledged.
Parker Kligerman getting by Ryan Sieg right here for a position.
Clear.
Good run by Sieg, that 39 car.
Every time Parker Kligerman makes a pass, you see the number get lower. It's -3 now behind Creed. But Hemrick also fighting as well in the 10. So as soon as Hemrick gets by that 39, it's going to be a tie again between Creed and Hemrick.
And Creed is back there. You mentioned the 18 and Sammy Smith. That's who the 2 of Creed is behind currently. You see he's only a couple car lengths behind him, but Sammy Smith is not going to be an easy pass.
And there's a lot of fast cars right there behind both these drivers. Nemechek, Jordan Taylor in the 11, Chandler Smith. So there's still some possibilities for them to lose a few more positions. Sammy Smith in particular, if he doesn't maintain his track position, that could get him even closer to that bubble.
It's a tough spot for Sammy, right? He's 5 points to the good. He's afraid to make a mistake because he's in. He's got plenty of gap, right? But if you don't push hard enough, they get by you and now you're out. So you don't want to make a mistake, but if you get too complacent, you get yourself in trouble that way as well.
Kim.
And Sheldon Creed and his team described this race to me as trying to find the perfect balance of caution and aggression. And right now might need to dial up the aggression level just a little bit because one of their goals today was to stay close to the 10 of Daniel Hemrick and the 48 of Parker Kligerman. Both those cars running a handful of cars ahead of Creed, who's currently in the 15th position.
Remember, the reason it's so tight right now around the cut line, and as a matter of fact, it's tied between Hemrick and Creed, is because Sam Mayer is leading. Sam was below all of these drivers.
Oh!
And now we have the 08 around. Will it bring out a caution?
That's in a bad spot, too. Kind of a blind spot. Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Hard to get out of there without any issue. No yellow.
Very close there for Stephen Parsons.
I bomb this, man. Sorry.
Oh, and looks like Parsons may have an issue. He's very loose as he came out on turn 8 there and onto the big track.
Yeah, I think that just, when you spin out, it kind of makes the tires mad. It picks up all that debris. Right here, watch Creed.
Creed behind Sammy Smith.
Creed's going to have an opportunity right here in the braking zone to go to the inside.
Kligerman passed Connor Mozak.
That puts Kligerman 2 points back. This is crazy. This point battle.
And the tiebreaker is going to go right now. If it's between Hemrick and Creed, it goes to Hemrick because he has a second place finish in this round.
Sammy's done a really good job here, but you can see that he just lacks a tiny bit of that experience in racecraft to be able to make this pass on the 19. Everyone in front of him with more time, more experience in this series has been able to get around the 19 car, whereas Sammy Smith sort of trapped behind him without the tools mentally to be able to make that pass, and that's given Creed the opportunity here.
Creed, Hemrick, Kligerman separated by 2 points, 2 positions on the racetrack. Under 13 to go in the Xfinity Series elimination race. And tomorrow it's the Cup Series turn at 2 o'clock on NBC. It's countdown to green. And 2:30 Cup Series playoffs with NASCAR America Post Race at 6 o'clock just after the checkered flag flies. And again, that's streaming on Peacock. And the big news today was Kyle Larson getting into the wall in practice, not being able to qualify, and he will have to start at the back of the field. So Kyle Larson in jeopardy of advancing out of the elimination race tomorrow. Marty.
Rick, 12 to go. Nothing wrong with Justin Allgaier's car, but a long conversation with Jim Pullman, his crew chief, and Allgaier. He said, listen, we're not going to win where we're at. We've already advanced. The only thing that matters to us today is winning the race. So, Steve, do you agree with this call? Get fresher tires on, see what you can do. And if a caution comes out, this move would look brilliant.
So they want to come get tires now because, as Marty pointed out, if the caution comes out, you expect some of the field to pit, probably not all of them. Listen, I don't think he's going to finish better than where he was running in third. Well, there's your yellow, unless you get quite that lucky. I didn't know. He should. Good thing it's Vegas next week. They carry that same luck to Las Vegas.
And we're hearing debris on the racetrack is what we're hearing from NASCAR. Don't know where that is yet.
So now we saw Allgaier pit, so he'll cycle back, I don't know, maybe just inside the top 20, which is still going to be a tall task at 12 to go. The fresh tires will absolutely help. The real question, though, is what do you do now? Do you come and get tires? Do you not? If you are Kligerman or Hemrick or Creed, I mean, that's the points battle we're looking at. Sammy Smith, you have to decide, what do you need? Do you have to have tires? There are currently 12 laps on these tires. There's going to be probably 9-ish to go when we take the green. And will we run 9 laps, or will we continue to see yellows on these road courses? They have a tendency to really stack up.
There you see debris on the track. Just on the inside of that curbing, but we see them racing on that curbing so much that ends up being the issue. That's the final turn of the chicane here on the front stretch.
Yeah, I don't know what that is on the racetrack.
The
debris and some liquid,
some water or something. Looks like maybe a sign that was down there.
Yep, somebody went through the chicane, missing the chicane, taking out the Geico restart zone sign.
They're held down with those water bags. They did use sand, and that was not a good result.
Okay, so if you're Cole Custer and you had tire issues the last 2 times you're on pit road, do you say, are we okay, or should we come down and get new fresh tires?
Oh, I'm not worried about those tire issues. Now, I'm not sitting in the car. So, no, I do think those blisters are, they're not the best thing in the world, but I don't believe that the 00, I don't think the 1, there's no way you can give up track position if you're in the front 5 or 6. No one has moved through the field after these pit stops. So pitting is going to be very difficult. The question isn't what you do, it's what everyone else does. I think Sam Mayer and Cole Custer will absolutely stay out. But if 5th on back come for tires, it's game over. If 12th on back come for tires, you're okay. You could protect against 10. That's what makes pit strategy so difficult. It's like calling an offense in the football game, but you're only calling it against one defense. So it's kind of a man-to-man matchup. In this situation, you're trying to guess what 15 or 20 other cars are going to call, and if you get it wrong, so right now you're on your scanner, you're listening to what everybody's trying to say. You might even have a couple engineers listening to other teams. You might have some key teams. If I'm the playoff cars of Sammy Smith, Hemrick, Creed, and Kligerman, I for sure assigned somebody each of those cars before this race started. You see everybody up, ready for action. That's Marty Lindley right there, the crew chief for Sam Mayer. And some of these drivers are getting this as an answer. Just do what the car in front of you doesn't do.
Yeah.
If he pits, you stay out. If he stays out, you pit.
You even go to the point of saying, hey, if 3 pit, you stay.
Right.
If 4, you can get those instructions as well. And you got to be counting cars as they're coming down pit road.
Let's listen in to Sheldon Creed's radio.
Here, we may have to take a chance, you know what I mean? Even if we're the first one to pit road, we might drag a bunch behind us. But we're just so right on the cut line right now, you know what I'm saying?
I don't hate that call from Creed. I mean, he's running 13th. And my fear is, I think, on a normal race, I would say 16th to 17th is pitting. If I'm the 2 car, I am absolutely coming for tires here, Marty.
I know their teammates just made the right call, as you said. Maybe they should play that hand in Vegas next week. But right now, Marty Lindley is telling Sam Mayer, we're pitting. And they agree with the 2 team. They think they're going to drag everybody else down pit road as well.
Well, then if I'm the 8, I'm staying out from the 6th position, Josh Berry, because I'm in a must-win situation. The last thing I'm going to do is follow cars down pit road. I have to be opposite of the 1.
So we'll see who comes. And the 1 is going to come onto pit road. The leader of the race decides to come get tires. Kim.
And Parker Kligerman, one of those drivers that debated and then decided they will make a stop. Parker saying drive off is still a premium. They'll go back on air pressures on these 4 fresh Goodyear tires they'll take, Dave.
Austin Hill in the 21 was running 5th. He was always going to come. Needs a little bit of adjustment, a little more turn needed, Marty.
Marty Lindley was right. They drug everybody down pit road. Cole Custer, bottom left of your screen, saying he's having a little bit of trouble on exit of the corner. They asked Sam Mayer, how hard have you been pushing that? Remember that radio conversation earlier? He said, I was 90%, the hardest I've been all day long. But look at that, Cole Custer's team with the stop. They will gain the track position here on pit road, but the 27 and the 7 stayed out, Rick.
Yeah, a couple guys stayed out. We'll reset them when we come back. NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs will continue next Saturday from Las Vegas. That's the round of 8, and it's the first chance to punch a ticket in the championship 4. Race coverage on USA at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. All right, strategist, we have Jeb Burton, who decided to stay out.
He had no choice. The 27's only option was to win this race. So I agree that numbers are against him. He's on old tires. Everything would say that the 7 should easily get by the 27, but you never know. We could see 2 or 3 wrecks, not a lot of restarts. I think it was the only option, Dave.
Certainly true. And when I talked to crew chief Shane Whitbeck this morning, he told me we do not believe that we have a car that can win the race on outright speed, so maybe we'll have to try something. Listen to the radio.
But I've seen you do incredible things on old tires, so I think this is the call. This is the only shot we have to make the next round, okay? He is a leader right now. Just do everything you can to get away. Do Jeb Burton's best restarts right now.
Do Jeb Burton's best restart right now. You know, that's what Jeb's thinking, and he'll try to keep him behind him as long as he can.
Yeah, one of the things that Jeb has done a great job of this year's restarts. If you think about what that team does, they are consistent, they finish races, and Jeb picks up spots on restart starts. It's going to be hard for him here with older tires, but that was 100% the right call for them.
His tires are old, but his car is not slow. We just saw on the graphic he finished in the top 10 in stage 1, and we saw throughout the race running very competitive laps. So will this clean air help him enough to be able to give him a bit more speed, a bit more grip? Can he get some luck from some calamity behind him that allows him to keep this track position?
Well, and to add to it, I would have absolutely lost a bet that many cars would have pitted. I had a split field for sure. No doubt in my mind. 8 or 10 cars were going to stay out. We had basically none.
Right.
The 7 doesn't really count. He was just off pit road. I mean, you're right? But the Perkins and Burton are the ones that stayed out on old tires. Allgaier, as I said, they gambled and they hit 0 on the roulette wheel, absolutely perfect straight up, and they have the best position, the best tires. That's going to be the challenge for the 27. And then the 1 back there, he said he hasn't had to push his car. We're going to see what kind of pace the 1 has as we're going to see a restart with 8 to go.
Jeb and his spotter, they've not been up front all day. They probably have not been paying attention to the restart zone. I believe they would have been better off being in that outside lane. I think you have to turn the car less. I think he could have got a better launch in that outside lane, especially with old tires.
Connor Mozak was having a good run, got caught speeding, so he's lost his track position here.
So now, Allgaier and the luck that they had being on pit road when the caution came out, will it pay off here at the Roval? It'll be 8 laps to go until the checkered flag. Green flag is out now. Allgaier charging on the outside as they go into turn 1.
Oh, the 27's missing the corner.
And they slam into the wall. It's happened before. We see it again. Allgaier into the wall, and the caution comes out.
Yeah, Jeb got down in the braking zone and just never made the corner, lost the back end of the car.
That might be the situation here.
We're
done, boys. We're done.
Every Xfinity race, there's been an incident in turn 1.
So this 27 has a bad restart, just on the old tires, spinning rear tires. He sails it down into turn 1. He's gone right here. Before he ever gets to the apex of the corner, the back of the car steps out. He has to correct it to try to save the car, and that's going to take him right into the door of the 7 of Allgaier. And man, hard impact. Perkins back there as well makes contact with the wall.
And all of the playoff guys are kind of right behind him, right? We're watching the impact, but as we continue to watch it, you see the 48 get through, the 2 get through. Oof.
Yeah, that's hard.
Big contact.
That's a really hard shot, flat side in the car like that. Inside the car, that's going to be tough for any driver.
It's just wild how many wrecks we see in turn 1.
I thought it was the restart zone being on the oval, but this didn't change it.
Well, y'all made a great point that the 27 takes the inside, and they may have been a better off situation for them taking the outside. When he gets into the gas at the restart zone, spins the rear tires, trying to accelerate away. That allowed the 7 to match him at the start-finish line, then pull ahead. It forced Jeb to really charge the entry, probably more than he wanted to, unknowing how much grip he had in that car and what that car would do to perform in the turn, in the braking zone. So he got a little bit behind on the restart because of where he was, the lane he chose, and that forced him to really have to get too aggressive on the entry to 1.
So to that point, Sam Mayer has the most experience of everyone starting on the front row, right? So he's going to get a shot at it here.
All right, so here's a replay of it. What we were discussing is watch the 7 car versus the 27 car. The 7 on the outside, he has a straighter shot. He does not have to turn his car as much as the 27. Jeb, in my eyes, did a great job. He launches early. When he gets into the Geico restart zone, he gets there, boom, he's going. But that whole time when he's leaving the corner, he's having to turn his car to the left more than the 7 is on the outside, stressing the rear tires more, and that got the 7 next to him, and now Jeb's got to kind of lunge into turn 1 deeper than he wants to try to keep the lead.
And a lot fresher tires on the 7 of Allgaier also allowed him to get back to the outside of that 27, and then just too hard into turn 1. Big hit though in the 7 of Allgaier. When he came onto pit road, he decided it was time to go behind the wall, and he's climbed out of that car. That helmet painted by his daughter Harper. Again, Allgaier is advancing into the next round with his win earlier in this round, so that guaranteed him a spot in the next round. He was running for the win of the race, which gives you 5 playoff points that he could have taken into that next round. So we see the points, and as they run.
That's as they run, but don't forget, Sam Mayer back there in 10th could easily win this race, currently running 2nd. And if he does that, then that red line moves up 1, right? Then it moves between Creed and Hemrick. So that's the challenge, is it's not just a points battle. It's a points battle not knowing how many will get in on points. So if you're a Kligerman, you're looking at this saying we only need to find 3 points. But, you know, if the 1 instantly becomes the leader, now all of a sudden you're 5 points behind, and you're behind another car. So it becomes a very challenging situation. It's going to happen in a blink of an eye here in the closing laps very quickly. Yep. Back to that restart, I actually think Sam Mayer, remember, he's been on the good end and the losing end of these restarts. So I think the 1 has the most experience of this new restart zone, Marty, and I think that'll be an advantage.
And that's a terrific point, Steve. Jonathan Toney, the crew chief for Cole Custer up front. There was a long debate about what they would do on the choose. Obviously, the right side, driver's right, is the most advantageous lane, but they're concerned if they give Cole Custer the inside, or I'm sorry, if they give Sam Mayer the inside, he would just restart and wash them up out of the racetrack. In fact, he told him a moment ago, he said, listen, 2 of the top 3 have to win this race to be able to advance to the next round. So the conservative route for Cole Custer would take the inside, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to take the inside for Cole Custer and give Sam Mayer the advantageous line. But Jeff, I think their concern is they just don't want to be cleaned out by either the 1 or the 8, who knows they must win if they want to advance.
Now, look, you just have to make your best choice. You cannot control what other people do. You have to do what you think is best, and you have to trust them, right? And there's nothing else you can do but focus on the launch. Get the launch right, and then the rest of it will take care of itself. That 8 car, Josh Berry in 3rd, he's in a must-win situation too, but he's in a tough spot right here. He does not have power steering. So earlier in the race, we learned that he had a problem. He got off course. Power steering had a problem there. Well, it hasn't gotten better. And so that is going to be a difficult task to get your car to point where you want to point and go where you want it to go at the speed that you want it without power steering is going to be a huge challenge for Josh.
Jeff Burton, and they continue to work on that car. Again, the right side of that, getting into the 7 of Allgaier. So Sam Mayer has won twice already this year, and can he make it 3? And would this be that home run that gets him into the next round? Well, the first win came at Road America. And then the confidence started to build. And it wasn't long after that at Watkins Glen when he was able to capture his second win. So 2 wins on his career, both coming at road courses. And now he's in a must-win position here at the Roval and looking to advance to the round of 8. And currently he will restart second.
I think we're getting to the choose right here. We'll see if everybody goes with what they said. Yep, so 0-0, as Marty reported, takes the inside. The 1 takes the outside. And I think the 1 is in a really, really, really good position here.
I know Josh Berry doesn't have any power steering. We don't know how severe that situation is, but it doesn't sound good. But lining up third is not a bad position to be in as well. You just saw what happened to the front 2 cars on that last restart. This will be another situation where you could again see trouble for the 0-0 or the 1, or both of them together entering turn 1. Could open the door for Josh.
Might create some problems and blame it on power steering.
Take a look at what happened to Parker Kligerman on that most recent restart.
They just did a good job. Didn't hit anything. That's the best you can hope for anytime you got 2 cars heading into the fence in turn 1, is just to be able to get through. We've seen those cars hit that wall and then come back and collect other cars trying to get through. That was a great job by Parker.
See row 4, Kligerman and Hemrick. And then
You
back
got
in
no
row
friends.
6.
We already talked about this.
Row 6 is where you'll find Creed in that 2 car. Sammy Smith only a +7. Even he's not super safe.
You heard the transmission to Parker Kligerman. You got no friends. We talked about this, trying to pump him up.
I don't know if that's an inspirational thing for me or not. You've got no friends. We'll see what happens and how aggressive they get. It'll be 5 laps remaining here at the Roval to determine who the 8 advance to the playoffs. Custer into the gas first. Sam Mayer fighting back on the outside. Will they get through 1?
Again, you saw the back end of the 0-0 really came around. He was able to keep the lead.
Now, how aggressive does Sam Mayer get? He's right to the back bumper of the 0-0.
He's got a shot right here to be able to go to the inside. Not going to do it. Gonna stay right on his back bumper.
Showing a ton of patience, not making a dive bomb in an area where he doesn't think he can pass him. Will the patience pay off?
Again, the 2 drivers behind Cole Custer both need to win to advance.
Got a car up in front of him here.
Sparky.
Jeb Burton. Yep, Jeb Burton just coming off pit road.
As they come into the braking zone, the backstretch chicane.
They're going to catch Jeb right here in the middle of the chicane. Jeb's going to go to the apron of the racetrack. Nope, doesn't stay there.
Oh, and into the wall again. It looks like the 43 of Ryan Ellis has more issues. Right side tires down. We stay green. Now the 1 to the back bumper of Custer. 4 laps to go.
Don't overdo something better than him all day.
Trying to pressure this 0-0 into a mistake. Got a couple cars going around here on the front straightaway. Brandon Jones spins. Gets the car going
contact.
again.
One got into the back of the 0-0. Now he's alongside
We don't give him
him.
anything to retaliate here. Quarter, still there, even. Quarter.
What will he do?
Get away.
Oh, Custer now 2 car lengths behind Mayer. Now he's closed the gap.
Oh, if he gets close to him, it won't surprise me a bit to see him try to move him. But Sam, with a great series of corners, is getting away from him.
Yeah, he is. He's driving away from him just in a few corners right there. Been able to put a little distance between him and the 0-0.
So with that, it becomes a 1-point battle between Creed and Hemrick. You see it on the bottom left. The points battle with Mayer leading is now 1 point, 1 position. Kligerman needs to find 6. He's on the back bumper of the 10 of Hemrick. Remember, if Hemrick gets past, he'll lose another spot. Hemrick in the 10, the bottom right of your screen, he needs to find a spot, a point in front of him.
Yeah, Creed has no pressure from behind. There's a good 5 or 6 car length gap to that 2 car.
Right in front of Hemrick is Kaz Gralla in that 26, the pink and black car. And Creed has an opportunity. His teammate in front of him. Can he get by the 21 of Hill?
He'll need that point.
And remember, some bad blood between these two at Bristol. They got into each other. There was an accident. So when you think, oh, it's a teammate, he'll get right out of the way. I'm not sure if that's the case from Austin Hill. I'm not sure he's really friendly with his teammate.
Richard Childress.
Right.
Parker underneath the 10 car.
Parker trying to take the spot away from Hemrick. Hemrick needs the point, though. He can't give this position up.
There is a point, though. If Hemrick thinks Kligerman's faster, let him go through and see if he can get in front of the cars. You know, contact in front of you, maybe you can get 2 spots for 1.
The problem with Hemrick is also the 20 has caught up to him as well, so he's going to have to try to keep Nemechek behind him.
The 1 car's pulled out to nearly a 1-second lead. No surprise, Sam Mayer has led 47 laps today. What a move in a must-win situation for one of the youngest drivers in the field.
He's been dominant today, and Sam Mayer, as you mentioned, continuing to pull away from Cole Custer. Barry also in a must-win situation, running 3rd. And it's helpless back there, 1.9 seconds back. The fight for that final transfer spot between Sheldon Creed and Daniel Hemrick. Hemrick not close enough yet. 2 points back. That's 2 positions.
That 48 car right in front of the 10, the 48 of Kligerman. You know, he is currently 5 points out. I don't see how he can pass 5 cars to get those positions that he needs, but he is not going to quit trying.
But right in front of Hemrick, to your point, Jeff, you know, that 26 is catching 2 other cars. We've seen, you know, bumper cars. You get 2 or 3 guys off in the grass. It can happen on the last corner. With 2 to go, these points are close enough. We're going to have to see all 17 turns.
Well, not only that, just making it around here without messing up by yourself. Sammy Smith running it, you know, he's only 4 points to the good. I mean, you could just make a mistake and lose 4 or 5 positions.
Sam Mayer back out on the big track. Sheldon Creed running 10th. And currently above the cut line, Daniel Hemrick running 7th, but below the cut line.
2 points, Rick, over 3 races. I mean, these are just so close between here, Texas, and Bristol. All the racing, all the regular season, all the playoff points available.
Sam Mayer now coming through the front stretch chicane. He is going to see the white flag. 1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank.
Next flag ends it. Run this pace, they will not catch you.
The 2, as you mentioned, Jeff, is in a really good spot. I think it's Hemrick who has the ability. Hemrick, can he find 2 points, 2 positions in front of him?
And he just needs the 2 points because a tiebreaker goes to Hemrick. His 2nd place finish is better than that of what Creed has.
Well, and you mentioned it. What if Parker makes a lunge for life, so to speak, to try to make an aggressive move and gets himself and the guy in front of him in trouble? Then Hemrick could take advantage of it and pick up 2 spots.
You saw the slide out of the Riley Herbst. You have Kaz Gralla right on his bumper, the 48 on his bumper. It's all in front of Hemrick. He's hoping for contact. You saw that 26.
Yeah, a little bit of contact with the wall there.
Watch the 48 car. He's got to make a move right here. Parker Kligerman, can he outbrake the car in front of him? It's a long way to go, but he's going to try. He's there.
To the back bumper of Kaz Gralla. He can't not make that pass. Now Sam Mayer through the final turns here on the big track. Hemrick running in 7th, but might not be able to make it on points. Creed in a great position. 3 wins, 3 career wins, and the most important one, Sam Mayer wins his way to the round of 8.
Oh, can the 10 get both of them? Oh, my goodness. That was so close between the 48, the 26, and the 10. We'll have to see the official scoring of who beat who to the line. 3 wide for the transfer spot.
Hemrick knew something was coming. He did a great job of kind of setting himself up to get a run off of this front stretch chicane. It just wasn't enough to do it. Kligerman had to try to make something happen. Hemrick knew it.
What a finish. Sam Mayer wins his way into the next round in a must-win situation.
This has been a big year for Sam Mayer, and I would say the second half of this year. Sam Mayer, we saw him early in his career making a lot of mistakes, almost trying too hard. And recently, he has had some big step-up moments, and this one is the biggest of all. Coming into this racetrack, knowing he has to win to make the next round of the playoffs, stepping up and doing it. This is something that will benefit Sam Mayer's career for the rest of the time he drives a race car.
Yeah, the last several weeks have been a struggle for this team, and they've put themselves behind in a must-win situation. Sam still has a lot of development left, but he came in here and did every single thing right today.
Steve, you talked about the fact that Hemrick, if he gets by these 2 cars, he advances to the next round. Look how close this is at the line.
Absolutely. If the 10 passes those 2 cars, he ties with Creed and eliminates Creed on the tiebreaker. Look at this. What is this, a quarter of a car? I can't tell who finishes in front of who between Hemrick and Kaz Grala, but that 10 car, the 3rd car on the right, that's the distance. That's what eliminated the 10 car of Hemrick.
5 feet. He's 5 feet away from passing those 2 cars and advancing to the next round. That's how close it was. And the celebration has started now for Sam Mayer here in front of the grandstands. 3 career wins, and they've all come on road courses. That matches what Allmendinger did in his career. NASCAR's looking at the finish to make sure points are awarded correctly to all these drivers with playoff hopes. But Sam Mayer knows what he needed to do when he entered this race was win to advance, and he went out and did just that. Steve, now that we see the income, obviously hindsight 2020, but that pit stop when they came at the caution with just about 10 laps to go in the race, everybody came.
Yeah, I was shocked everybody came, but I have to hand it to Marty Lindley. He never really judged. From everything we heard on the radio, he never went back and forth. He was stuck to his guns. We're going to put tires on it. Believed in his young driver. And Kim, his young driver, Sam Mayer, paid off those new tires by winning a must-win situation.
Look at the smile on this young driver's face. 3 road course wins this season, but this one the most important. You had to win to move on. You got it done. But that restart, 5 laps to go. Cole Custer got in front of you. What was going through your head? Take us through those laps.
Yeah, I knew we had time. Like our car was so fast. It really felt unbeatable, just like Xfinity 10G. Like, what a day. Like, the good Lord, he works in mysterious ways, and he put us down, but he also taught me a lesson and brought me back up, and we kicked our tails today, and it just feels so great.
50 laps led. It was a dominant performance. What does that mean you guys have for the next round since you're moving on?
Yeah, bonus points feel great. Winning feels great. Winning solves everything. That's the name of the game. Getting another shot at it, I think this is our second chance moment. I think we can make something out of it. Huge thanks to all the people out here supporting us. The Xfinity side isn't as big as the Cup side, but winning still feels great.
So the win feels great. Is this, hands down, the most important win of your career?
I think so. I mean, we can go on and do great things because of this win. This obviously is the biggest win of the season. We love road courses. I guess I'm AJ Allmendinger 2.0 or something.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Sam Mayer with the win that takes him into the round of 8 in the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs.
And one of the Junior Motorsports cars will be eliminated from those playoffs. That's Josh Berry. But now 2 with Allgaier and now Sam Mayer. 2 drivers that will fight for a championship. You have the highs, obviously, of Sam Mayer and the lows of those drivers that didn't quite make it in. Sheldon Creed just above the line. Right below it, Daniel Hemrick and Parker Kligerman. Checkered flag flying for Sam Mayer, getting his 3rd career win. It's so important that it advances him now with the chance to win a championship at just a young age of 20. We'll hear from more drivers when we return.
telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.